Gwan Beautiful People.
What's up, guys?
Welcome once again to another episode of Cooking with Nino. So today, I'm going to give the people what they want. So I got a request from one of my subscribers that said they want to see me prepare Jamaican cornmeal porridge. So big up to MK. This one's dedicated to you. So right here, I've got all my ingredients all laid out for my Jamaican cornmeal porridge. Of course, I've got my cornmeal. It's a finely grained cornmeal. I've got a bit of salt here, so I'm going to tip in the water. And first off, I've got about 5 cups of water, which I'm going to be using. And I've also got some ground cinnamon. I've got some artificial vanilla flavor. I've got some cinnamon sticks. I've got a can of condensed milk, a little bit of a coconut milk, which I'm going to be adding to that. That's going to kick it up a notch. I've got some artificial almond flavor. And of course, I've got some nutmeg, okay? And I've got all my little tools there, and I've got my pot all set on my stove here. I'm gonna turn on the stove on to high, and I'm gonna be pouring in my 5 cups of water. Just gonna get the water in there. Now, it's very important to ensure that you dissolve the cornmeal in something cold, okay? So you can either opt to use water, or in this case, I'm going to be using, just dump my cornmeal in a bowl, and I'm going to be adding milk to it, just to add a little bit more substance. I'm going to add a little milk just to dissolve this cornmeal. And what that's going to do, that's going to really help us to ensure that the cornmeal is distributed properly. All right, we just got to mix it up. Let's get it all mixed up there and pour it in. We got to get it in before the water starts getting warm, because otherwise it's not going to dissolve properly. So we get it all in. Let's give a nice little stir. And the important thing is here, we just got to continue on stirring to keep it from sticking. So in the midst of doing that, I'm going to be dropping a few flavoring agents in my water. So I'm going to get a couple of cinnamon sticks. These you can get at your local grocer. Just look in the spice aisle, you'll find your cinnamon sticks. All right, I've also got some almond extract. I'm going to be pouring that in there. We put roughly about a tablespoon. Okay, I'm just using a capful, just about a tablespoon in there. I'll be dropping as well some flavored vanilla extract. And that too is about a tablespoon. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm also going to add a little bit of salt to this water, because the salt is going to really help. And we're talking about roughly about a quarter or a teaspoon. Just pop her in there. Okay, that's going to help allow the flavor to pop. And the important thing is here, we just got to keep stirring, and we got to keep turning it over. And the more we turn it over, is the more we allow the flavors to kind of get to know each other, and for the porridge itself to cook. A half a package of this coconut milk, which you can get at your local grocer. This is a Grace brand. You can also use a liquid form of coconut milk. I'm just going to pour this in. I'm not even going to bother to dissolve this, because as the liquid gets warm, it's going to dissolve. I'm just going to pour that in. And this itself is going to add another layer of flavor. Okay, and anyone that's ever used coconut milk, you know the deal with this. It just takes everything and it just brings it to another level. All right. So because I didn't dissolve it, you can actually see little lumps in there, but don't worry about that. This is coconut milk, and the lumps are just going to disappear. Okay, as this thing gets warm, the lumps all get dissolved. And I've got my stove, like I said, on high. At some point, I'm going to have to reduce the heat to a medium. Okay, because this thing, as it gets warm, and as it actually cooks from the bottom, so everything is being formulated from the bottom. And as that happens, the liquid gets thickened, and you got to keep moving it around. Now you have choices. You can either use a rubber spoon like I'm using here, or you can use a whisk, or you can use a rubber spatula. All right, so it is your choice. And I'm also going to put, let us not forget, I've got a half a nutmeg here. Okay, here's the nutmeg. I've got a little nutmeg grater. I'm going to just add it all in there. Oh, there we go. We dropped the nutmeg right in there. I've got another one, but I'm going to be scooping that out at some point. But I'm just going to just grate fresh nutmeg in there. We're using about a half a teaspoon. Okay, just ground that in there. And that also reminds me, that is another reason why you don't grate stuff over in the product that you're cooking. If I were a little smarter, I would have grated that in a small little bowl and then dump it in. That would have prevented the nutmeg from falling in. But the nutmeg falling in is really no harm. It's not going to do any harm, but it's going to add more flavor, I'll tell you that much. So we just continue on, and we just slowly just move the liquid around. As you can see, there's some steam coming up off of it. That's an indicator that there's some cooking action going on. All right, so we just stir away, and this is going to take us, I would say, maybe another 8 minutes. Another 8 minutes or so, we'll have this product all done. It's just going to keep, as it gets warmer and warmer, it gets thicker and thicker. What I like to do as a bit of a standby is I always like to have either a little cup of water, or in this case, I've still got some milk left in the jug. I'm going to be keeping this on standby in the event that I notice that the cornmeal porridge is getting a little too rich too fast. I want to douse a little coldness in there to kind of settle it a little bit. All right? In conjunction with turning your burner down to about medium. And I can actually feel this cornmeal porridge with the spoon as I stir away. I can feel it getting thicker and thicker. It's not doing it quickly, which is what I want ultimately. I don't want to, it's not about a race when it comes to this. It's about slowly allowing the cornmeal to cook and for it to thicken. I've got all my flavoring agents in there, which is just really just bringing it up, and they're all combining and getting to know each other. They're dancing. They're having a little Jamaican breakfast reggae party in a pot. You know what I mean?
You're silly.
Well, I can be at times. And so what I'm going to do a little later on is, as this gets thicker and thicker, I'm going to be adding the last ingredient to settle my cornmeal porridge. In this case would be, what do we got here? A goulette. Goulette it's called. Well, you can use any form of condensed milk that you so desire. They sell them in your local grocery store or your local ethnic grocery store. Just get a can, okay? I like to keep a couple of them on hand just in case. All right, and as you can see, guys, if you notice there, it is getting thicker and thicker. I can see it. I can feel it in the stirring, and I can also visually see it getting richer. A lot of people out there as well that make oatmeal porridge, and it's somewhat in the same process. Get the oatmeal porridge going. All right. And in Jamaica, cornmeal porridge is a favorite of a lot of people as a breakfast item. They also make a banana porridge, a peanut porridge. There's even at times where they combine all three. They have banana, oats, peanut, and they just combine them all. And interestingly enough, in and around areas in Jamaica, you will find, where there's a lot of businesses, you'll find that there are guys or gals out there in the morning selling, they've got big pots of cornmeal porridge, which they just distribute to the customers as they come by. It's a favorite little breakfast item. They just grab a cup and off they go to work. And I will hold them until lunchtime. So I've got a little bubbling action here. I'm going to turn the burner down because I can feel, if you could look in there, guys, you can see, whew, and this thing gets real ugly real fast. You got to be very careful with this because it will pop. And let me tell you, if you come in contact with your skin, you will feel a little like somebody just pinched you. So anytime you notice it's doing that, just remove the pot from the burner, but continue to stir. I've turned my stove right down to about 3, which is less than medium, because I don't want a lot of heat right now. Let's see, am I going low with this? I'm just going to take it right down to low. And I'm not talking about Nino and Lo either. I'm talking about turning the stove down low.
Oh, you're funny. That
is funny, isn't it? She always thinks I'm corny with my little jokes. And you can see the richness in that. That gets nice. Really thick. It's getting thick. So we've got one of these burners that is, let's get her down, right down. Get the burner down. Now, as I notice it's getting thick, get it back on the stove, you're gonna get it popping. So I just put a little bit of coal in there just to kind of tame the heat a little bit. Just to tame the heat and allow it to just cook slowly. It also changes the color a little. You can see that nice, rich, creamy look. All right, but guys, I can't stress enough. I can't stress enough that take your time with this because it will pop and it will burn you if it pops. So get your stove right down and allow it to just cook itself very slowly. But if you notice that it starts to pop, any kind of popping action, just remove it from the burner altogether. Just take it right off. And it will, with the understanding that while it's cooling, it's still cooking. It does not have to be directly on the burner to be cooking. While it's sitting there cooling, the cooking process still continues simply because the temperature is still so high within the porridge. All right, look at that. Look at that richness. Got everything going there. I'm gonna add a little bit of powdered cinnamon to that. It's gonna change the color ever so slightly, but it's gonna add a lot of extra flavor. So I've got the cinnamon stick. I'm putting a little powdered cinnamon in there. All right, it's gonna get a little bit of a brown. It's gonna tone it down a bit. But mind you, while I have it off the burner, like I said, it is still cooking. Still cooking away. And when it comes to sweetening your porridge, like I said, I like to use condensed milk. And you can use brown sugar, you can use honey, you can use, what's that thing they call, what's that?
Agave?
Agave, you can use agave. Okay, you can use any kind of substitute sugar if it's a problem with health or choice. But just by adding a little bit of milk or a little bit of almond milk or soy milk, you give it a little bit of a flavor, a little bit of a creamy flavor. So right now, as I've got it cooking, I've got my stove turned right down. I kind of remove it off the stove. It's still cooking. I'm going to be adding some condensed milk to it, okay? So I've got the burner turned all the way down. I've got my can of condensed milk. I'm going to be popping that open. And guys, please forgive me here. I got a bit of a sweet tooth, and I tend to like my condensed milk a little bit on the sweet side. But like I said, you can put however much you want for your tasting. I know what it takes for mine, and I just kind of go ham on it. Okay, as you pour your condensed milk in, you just continue to stir. Now my stove is on low. Everything is just way down low, and I don't mean Nino and Lo. Once again, I mean low. So here we go. So I just kind of stir away, just kind of get everything incorporated. All right. And as I'm stirring, I'm also rubbing the bottom. You're not just stirring just the surface. Stir from the bottom. So you're actually scraping all the thickness off the bottom, releasing it. Other cornmeal starts going and it starts repeating the process as it gets thicker and thicker. All right. Look at that. Look at the color of that. Lovely. Look at the creaminess. So after about, say a good 10 minutes of doing this, you should have your cornmeal porridge all set. You can choose to leave it a few more minutes if you so desire. That's entirely up to you. But I think this much time will allow for total readiness. All right. But I ensure that my stove is down on low. And as I mentioned a couple of times, while the cornmeal is sitting there, just by looking at it, you see all that steam coming off, you know it's still cooking. It may not be cooking at a high temperature, but it's still cooking. And as long as you keep stirring, you will have an amazing product. So here we go. I think we're just about done with this. So as we finish our porridge here, guys, I want you to take note of the consistency. You see the consistency that I've got here? Okay, a little liquidy, a little bit on the thicker side, but not like wallpaper paste by any means. Now you can make it wallpaper paste like thickness if you like. However, I don't suggest that, but it's entirely up to you. If it does turn out that it's too thick, you can always add a little bit more milk or even a little bit more water if you so desire. Okay, just to kind of loosen it up and bring it to a really nice, workable consistency. So I'm about to scoop out a couple of bowls of my delicious porridge here. All right, so just get a bowl there, pop her in. Look at that. Let's get another one. Because I gotta allow Lo to taste this because she loves porridge. Just pop her in there. Look at that. Got a couple of lovely bowls of a porridge. So So I hope you enjoyed this episode of me making cornmeal porridge as a request of one of our viewers, MK. Big up again to MK, you know who you are. So guys, continue to send in your requests. Let me know what you want to see us prepare in our kitchen. I'd be more than happy. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Give those thumbs up because, you know, YouTube love those thumbs up. They love to see that. Tell your friends and family, come by, see us sometimes, and enjoy the episode. So I'm about ready to taste this deliciousness and see what it tastes like. I love the consistency. Oh my God. Kick your mama. This is tasting absolutely delicious. Absolutely delightful. Guys, I certainly hope you enjoy this episode of Cooking with Nino, and we look forward to see you on the next one. So take care and big up on yourself.